Hey, folks, welcome to the View Podcast, episode 15, joined again by Locky and Max, who popular demand after last week's podcast. There was lots of love in the chat for the tactics talk last week, so let's do it again. So there's not a massive amount of stuff going around this week. We are going to focus on kind of where Leeds are up until this point, and a couple of stories have been floating around. I get a lot of reactions to them as well, but to start off with, Locky, how are you? How's your week been? How's your voice?
Yeah, good. My voice is all right. I'm just fighting back a cough every 5 seconds, so I apologise if I cough loudly in people's ears. But yeah, been off sick this week from uni, really, so it's been a bit of a rubbish one, but getting better now, hopefully.
Good to hear. Max, have you been, mate?
I've been all right, yeah. Just been working, waiting for Leeds to come back, working again, thinking, when are Leeds coming back? And at the moment, I've just sort of got England, Australia on in the background, but there's nothing more boring than watching England in a friendly. Just honestly. So I'm just excited for Leeds to get back and we'll get our weekly Leeds fix from chatting about them tonight.
Yeah, I'm surprised I managed to get enough videos out this week to actually cover a week cycle of news with international breaks. I don't like international football. I just don't like it, and I hate friendlies. I know there's a need for them, but I'm like, I could do without that. Yeah, and
World Cups, Euros, stuff like that. Yeah, bang on, lovely. But just all the stuff in between. Like, I know it's not feasible to just have no international football for 2 years and then be like, right, World Cup, but it's kind of the ideal situation.
Nice,
yeah,
nice. Straight for World Cup, no qualifiers.
They don't need so many, do they? Come on, you know what I mean?
No.
I've had two in last month or something. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, that is silly.
2 international breaks and one more in November as well. Yeah, come on.
Is there one in November as well?
Yeah. I don't think there's a break for a little bit, but I think some of this is still the COVID kind of lag effect, where it's like we're trying to squidge everything into shorter periods of time to try and get back to the dates they'd agreed for the tournaments. But I heard a lovely conspiracy theory on Sky Sports News about the World Cup. Have you heard this one about the so the 2030 World Cup has been awarded to Morocco, Portugal, and Uruguay, right? So it'll be played in Uruguay, or at least I think one game, could be more, I could be wrong. One game we played in Uruguay because it's the 100th anniversary of the World Cup, and the first World Cup in 1930 was played in Uruguay.
And they won it, didn't they?
They did win the first two, I think. So that was slightly before my time. But that was then. So that's why that's been picked. And then they've split it between Morocco and Portugal for the remainder of the games, which you're like, that seems like an odd coupling of countries. Like, surely like Portugal and Spain together would make sense because they're beside each other. And then I think it was Kave Solikov on Sky Sports said this out loud, and his exact words were, "It doesn't take a conspiracy theorist long to get hold of to poke holes in this." So the World Cup rotates every 4 years, but it rotates continent as well. So the Americas get a crack at it, then the African nations get a crack at it, then Europe gets a crack at it, then Asia gets a crack at it, and so on. The last one was in Qatar, so that was technically classified as Asia. So that was the Asia box ticked. And this one has been announced for technically 3 continents: Americas, Europe, and Africa. It means the next one in 2034 is open for Asia, and Saudi Arabia want it. And you're like, so 2 of the 3 World Cups will be in the Gulf nations. And you're like, doesn't take a huge stretch to figure out there's a big bag of money involved in this somewhere.
Yeah. It's just so like on the nose, isn't it? It's you can't believe it sometimes, can you, that it's that sort of blatant, but
yeah, well, it's what it is, isn't it? I think.
Yeah,
we all want it in our countries, don't we? Let's be honest. That's the goal. We never will. He'll never come here again.
We're getting the Euros. We're all getting the Euros together.
Yeah, great.
And Ireland probably won't qualify for it.
You have to, will you?
They
will.
You
automatically get a spot anymore, do you?
Do it.
I saw us saying we didn't. I think Southgate said he wants a qualification.
But he's good enough to qualify. So Wales, Scotland, and Ireland get a bye. Can we all qualify automatically? That'd be great.
I think you might be all right, mate. Yeah.
I think with players like Declan Rice and Jack Grealish, you've got a chance of qualifying.
Come on, Max. Really?
4 minutes in, Max.
Come on.
Sorry, I couldn't resist.
Get your hands off Evan Ferguson. Saw him in the this week.
He's very good, isn't he?
International. Please tell me this is a competitive international. Please tell me this is a competitive international. He's going to play. Stay away from him. Yeah, there's not a lot. Just to bring up to speed in the news stuff, in case you missed it this week, there's been a lot of stuff going around about Customs House. What's it called? I have to forget the name of it now.
Company's House.
Company's House. Thank you. Company's House. Yeah. So documents released showing the ownership of Ellen Road passing from the ownership of Radrizzani over to the 49ers, which is great. Kinnear was speaking to the Sports Advisory Board for Leeds this week in his September meeting, and he said that it will be visible in the next set of Company House reports. And then a Company House report came out yesterday that showed Radrizzani and the other two directors that he had exiting Leeds, or the termination of their appointment, and the appointment of Rudy Klein-Thomas as a director. So Radrizzani completely gone from the club. Locky, how will you remember Radrizzani's time as Leeds owner?
As a whole, I think you got to look at it in different sections. I think when he came in, I was younger, but I was fairly happy. I wasn't like massive on ownership when I was like, I wasn't really that bothered. I didn't understand it, but I know my dad used to tell me stories about Chelino all the time. I was like, this guy's crazy. Like, what's going on here? And then Radz just seemed to kind of calm it for a little bit, especially under Gary Monk. I think that was a good season. I enjoyed it. The ending wasn't, we just missed out, didn't we? But from that sense, and then the year after started great with Thomas Christensen, and then kind of dropped. But I think, and then Bielsa, and that happened, and there we're looking at Radz, and lots of people at that time were going, "This is brilliant! What an owner! He's doing everything right." And I guess he was at that point. He got us back to the Premier League. That was his first game. I think he said in 5 years, and he did it in what, three,
yeah.
Well, yeah. So at that point, he was the greatest. We loved him. But then when you're up there and you feel you have something great as a fan base, and then you see kind of the lack of investment in that second year, and then don't back the manager that literally carried the club up to the Premier League. Yeah. And then the way in which he conducts himself in certain times after he left as well, it does leave a very bitter taste. So I think you do have to credit the fact that he gave us those memories to go to the Premier League. He was part of that decision making. But then obviously we also have the bad memories of going down under him as well. So yeah, I think, good start, terrible finish, I think.
Yeah. Max, what do you think, mate?
I think it was, if you've got money in the Championship, as much money as he had, because that was plenty for the Championship, it was one of the easiest ownership jobs in football in terms of the expectations of what had gone before. Like, if you did the bare minimum, like retained a sense of sanity, you would have been received quite well as the owner of Leeds United at that time, after all the ownership that we'd had before. But I think when he first went, we did a bit on Joe's show, didn't we? We talked about what we thought of his whole time, and I think on there I said it's a net positive, but only slightly, because we're still in the Championship, or we're back in the Championship, but now we've got parachute payments and a better manager and squad and stuff. So it's just a net positive. But I just think he's one of those people who his ego got the better of him, because I think if if the first season had ended with us in 9th, and then he'd have gone, do you know what? That's as far as I can take it. I will be remembered as a hero for taking us back to the glory days. If he'd have stepped aside and let the 49ers come in then, when it was a possibility, I think, wasn't it? Then we probably would have been in the position that maybe Aston Villa are or Brighton are in a European competition and settled in the Premier League. But obviously, ego got the better of him and he thought he could carry on, and then eventually admitted that he didn't really have the funds to keep going at that level of financial outlay. So he should have just let go earlier, but ego.
I think Angus pretty much said it in the Square Ball podcast, was it, when he said, when you look at it, the money was there in terms of 49ers investment last season. If maybe the transition of power had happened then, maybe we wouldn't be where we are now. Maybe again, it was that case of, well, we stayed up, we can do it again, and it's just, as I say, the law of depreciating returns. You do the same thing too many times, you get less and less effect every single time. And the second year you get a crack at it, it just doesn't work out and you go down. I think for me, I'll always be grateful for Bielsa. I'll always be grateful for the fact that he did give us Bielsa, and I'll never not be grateful for that. And he did break the 16-year cycle of being in the lower leagues and getting us back into the Premier League.
But did he give us Bielsa? Because it was Orta who was the one who pushed for it, and it's his idea. And all Radrizzani had to do was say, "I'll pay for that." Yeah.
But the conversation, I think I remember, I could be misremembering this, but I think at the time it was Christensen hadn't worked out. Monk had finished, Christensen hadn't worked out, and Heckenbottom hadn't worked out. And I think they had initially decided they were going to go after a young, up-and-coming coach. That's what they wanted, a young coach that could grow with the team. So they went for Christensen, didn't work, went for Heckenbottom, didn't work. And then I think they had a conversation in the season where I think Radz said to Orta, blue sky thinking here, if you could have anyone, who would you have? And he said, Bielsa. And he said, go see if we can get him.
I read, I can't remember where it was, but my dad might have told me something, but I read it was Bielsa and Conte. They were the two that he wanted, apparently.
Conte.
That's what I heard. Yeah. That's what I heard. Yeah.
I think we got the better of the two. I know Conte's a serial winner, but I think we got the better of the two.
I think he just left. I can't remember where he'd left at that point, but he was free as well. And they obviously they wanted to be ambitious. I think they were the two that they figured out.
Well, they did. They were ambitious. They did give a management team $3 million a year, and obviously the way Bielsa does it was you hire Bielsa and he hires his team, and then he pays his team, not you. You give him the money and he pays them. So I think it was a $3.5 million, $3.5 million a year, which at the time in the championship was a ludicrous amount of money for a head coach. But we got from it. We got some fantastic memories, some lovely moments. I'll never forget Ellen Rowe when Pablo scored. The place just vibrating like I've never seen it before. Just an incredible season. So yeah, there'll always be that. But then again, as Max, if you said, if you weren't to look at the detail and you were look at the dates, that when his ownership started and when his ownership ended, it would say championship.
Yeah,
and that I think is the unfortunate legacy that he leaves behind. And again, I actually thought that he was going to be more normal. Like I really did. When I saw him coming in, he was well dressed, wearing suits, and then you see him beside Cellino, who's a head case allegedly, and they're side by side, and you go, we're getting a professional Italian bloke in here this time. And then you see the first 2 years and you go, yeah, this guy's, he's figuring things out, but he's doing the right things, he's acting the right way. And then they look at the last season, we're like, oh, dude, put the bottle of wine away, put Twitter down, give it a break, stop messaging lads on Twitter. It's not going to work. This is not a good look.
He was friends with Cellino, wasn't he, to start with?
Yeah, then he fell out, didn't he?
Yeah, so I mean, that's a red flag to start with. She's this guy, yeah, he's quite pally with Cellino.
You're out, pal. Yeah. And ultimately, he kind of went a bit Cellino-y towards the end, so not full Cellino, should be said, because that's an experience that we all got to live through. But yeah, not quite.
But isn't he doing something similar with the women's team at Sampdoria now?
Yeah.
Not financing it or something. That's what Cellino did at Leeds, isn't it?
It's exactly what he got rid of him completely, and they went out on their own. They did Leeds ladies thing.
Yeah, they had to start again, didn't they, as well?
Yeah, which is a horrible thing to do, but luckily that's all been sorted and back in house. But yeah, he's doing the same things as well, penny pinching where he can, and luckily probably get Sampdoria back into Serie A. But he's already sacked Pirlo. I mean, you're sacking Pirlo. Wow, what are you doing? Yeah, exactly. Well, anyway, he's done. Angus had some positive things to say about the ownership transferring across now fully, and he did say that we would see some major developments, or at least some developments at Ellen Road in the very near future, next coming weeks, he said, and that there will be some investment on the field and off the field. But if Leeds do need reinforcements in January, in case anyone gets injured, there will be money there to finance that. But he did say, and this is where I want to get your opinion on it, he did say that he believes the value in January will be in the loan market. And Locky, I think you said last week or before, maybe Max actually, who talked about seeing Leeds going for loan players maybe in January. But we've got two loan player gaps. Do you think it's an avenue Leeds will go down, Locky? And who do you bring in and where do you bring them in?
I think, I don't see why not. You know, we saw what we see in the Championship a lot these times is the teams often near the top or fighting for top two do bring in a player or two from the Premier League, because at this point in January, it's players that the team in the Premier League thought could be part of their team but haven't been. So they're a good caliber of player,
like a certain Calvin Phillips.
No chance. How much is he on a week? I think
sometimes clubs agree to pay for their wages, and the loaning club
40.
doesn't have to.
Not a chance. Like Cameron Archer, I think last year came into Middlesbrough in January and got 16 goal involvements in the second half of the season. Just players like that. Tom Cannon as well, who's now at Leicester, did the same thing at Preston. So you can get really good players in January. There is a few. There's one or two at Villa I still quite like that are not playing, which I find crazy. Not even on the bench. There's a few there that I think we could do. One of them is a 10. He's very young. He's called, his last name's Kellyman. I don't know if you heard of him.
No.
Very good player. Very good player. Was being shouted out at pre-season, have been brilliant for Villa, but obviously isn't making their team this season. So that's one, maybe, potentially. Yeah, I think we should. I don't see why not. If you've got 2 loan spots, why not fill them? Obviously without, upsetting what we already have, but if you bring quality players in, it's a quality.
If you bring in a left back and a 10 on loan as a temporary solution, and then when you go up to the Premier League, you spend a few bob on a left back and a 10.
Yeah. It can help. And then look, in January, we might have 3 or 4 injuries. We might need to. It might be necessary. Exactly. So just do it. Just add a few more in. Why not?
Yeah. Especially in 10. If you can get 10, a lone 10, a lone left back, and that completes the circle of 2 players in every single position, pretty much sorted out then. So you got proper depth. Yeah, it'd be interesting to see. And then the other bit of news that floated around, the other kind of major news was Leeds are continuing to try and get some money back for John Kevin Augustin. They've appealed the FIFA ruling to award JKA his entire £25 million salary for his 5 years at Leeds in one lump sum. They've appealed it to the Court of Arbitration for Sport, and they're hoping to get that ruled out. Kieran Maguire, who's a football finance expert, said that he reckons Leeds wouldn't be doing this unless they felt they had a case to win here, because the legal fee amount of money is said to be in the 6-figure bracket, which is a lot of money, and they wouldn't be wasting that if they didn't think they could win. I'm of the opinion that just leave it, lads. Just can we just stop? Leave it alone. We've been here too often. It's gone too long. What's your thoughts, Max, on it? And would you just walk away from this or go after it?
So how's it worked so far then? Have they already paid this and they're trying to claim it back?
Not yet. No, they've appealed it to the Court of Arbitration for Sport, so they haven't paid it until all the appeals have been exhausted.
So does this go against the profit and sustainability in the Championship?
If we can keep it, yeah.
If it was 25 million that we had to outlay, then that takes us way over the profit and sustainability per year, doesn't it? Because I think it's supposed to be, what is it, 33 million or something operating losses, or is it less than that?
It's less than, I think it's 30 million, but that's assuming the owner can finance 25 million of debt. And then if you can't, I think your PNS in the Championship is like 5 million. I think you have to be able to write off losses. If you can't, then the amount you can actually lose is less.
So maybe they're trying to say, get rid of this and it won't come back to bite us in terms of that. Because if we don't go up and then we have to pay this as well, then it like, oh, well, maybe we can't spend any money now in the Championship next season, and some of our better players want to go, and it could all fall apart based on that. And slowly it's like, hold on, we don't have any parachute payments anymore. Any players that were really good are kind of going. Oh God, I've just given myself existential dread.
I did hear someone say something about money had been ring fenced last year, as in, put it aside, accounted for, but it's sitting there, resting in the account. Should they have to pay it? But I'm not 100% on that either, so I don't know. I could be wrong. Somebody in the chat in the comments will tell me exactly what we should or shouldn't be doing here. But Locky, what do you think about it? You think it's a bit of a mess and just walk away, or what?
Yeah, I don't understand, mate. I don't get it. We did wrong, or did we? I don't know. Did we do wrong? I don't know. Did we do wrong? Did we do wrong, Jay?
No, we didn't.
Didn't we? I don't know.
I think we did. I think we pulled a fast one.
If you take it literally, what the deal was, then we didn't. They've basically gone, oh, that's not very nice. You have to pay. Yeah.
So
that's basically what they said.
Because the date, right? It got pushed.
Yeah,
pushed
the
back
dates
because of
out
COVID.
there. Yeah.
Yeah, it was like a
end of season
thing.
date.
Oh, you should honor it really, because it means the end of the season. But it doesn't. In black and white on the paper, it says the 31st of July or whatever it is. That is the date that it said the clause expired.
That's naughty, isn't it?
So
it's a bit.
They basically got two little kids in the playground and gone, do you know what? you're not being very nice to old Leedsy
Give him
boy
the
over there. Oh, yeah, go on, pay him anyway.
Yeah.
I would be fuming though if I was on the other side of it.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
If I'm owed 25 million, I'm like, dates. No, it's not the date, mate.
Can we not just give John Kevin Augustin our Brendan Aronson as a pet? He's worth about 25 million, isn't he?
To be fair. Like
We don't
FIFA,
have
what,
25
some
million,
players
but we
want-
have got a Brendan Aronson who can come and stay with you if you'd like him.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say we could have held Acosta, but he's gone now, hasn't he? So
He's not worth 25 million.
some of it though, isn't it? It give you a sum of it.
Well,
The first
yeah,
installment is Helder Costa.
Yeah, Helder Costa, J. Roy Grott. Any others that we can find in the bottom of the barrel?
Just on a, when we signed him, I was so happy. Oh, no, that's another story. I was so happy when we signed him. No, I was so
I
happy.
saw him score in Ellen Road in a snowstorm. I was there. I saw him score his only goal in Ellen Road in an absolute blizzard. It was an eventful day, but I can say I saw that man score a goal. And not many people can say that because he didn't score many goals.
He was actually
Should
like
have been-
highly
he should have
rated
been
as well.
perfect.
He was highly
He
rated.
was
when he
huge
was-
and fast.
He was
You're like,
highly
this
rated.
guy's no-
I remember.
Couldn't hit a barn door with a banjo. Him and Habibu. There you go. There's two
I remember
big
when
lads.
I
that
was, when he
should have been
came, and that's when I was like prime FIFA career mode. He was like 85 potential. I was like, this guy's insane.
great. We did that with a lot of players, though. We signed Hadi Sacco, who had a £60 million release clause. in his
Adrian.
contract.
Oh, I was happy when we signed Adrian.
Do you know, I was still
Career mode
happy when we
legend
had
there.
him. Outside of a salmon dive, I
Yeah.
I was still I have his name on a shirt as well, which is buried now. Buried.
I remember as a kid being like, oh my God, we've signed a Brazilian, and looking at him on FIFA going, oh, he's a Brazilian in our
Tricky.
squad in the championship.
We have a bad track record with Brazilian players. Like we signed Roque Jr. and we got the Wish version of Roque Jr. when he came. He was dreadful. And then we signed Adrian. I was like, oh, another Brazilian. No, he was also.
I think
disaster.
though, Rafinha lifted that curse. So if we do sign any more Brazilians in the future, hopefully that curse is gone now and they're good.
Yeah.
Fingers crossed. Yeah, that's nuts. But yeah, we signed some doozies. So yeah, that's the John Kevin Augustin stuff. It'll be interesting to see what happens. It could be money in our pockets. And we did have our first transfer rumor of the I suppose coming into the winter season, and it was Noel Tornqvist from Mjällby, who's a goalkeeper, 21 years of age, I think he is. And the story was basically saying that this is the replacement for Chris Klassen. Chris Klassen will move on at the end of the season, and this guy will come in and replace him, and that'll be that for Chris, who is they've now labelled him as is fighting for the third position with Danny van der Heuvel, really, because he's not competing for the second shirt because that's Darlow's now. So he wants to have a more of a crack at a career. It's the weird position because I don't think we need to be buying 21-year-old potentially great goalkeepers. Lucky, do we? We've got a very young goalkeeper in nets right now.
Yeah, it's kind of weird. It's kind of like if you've got like a 35-year-old veteran in that, it kind of makes sense, doesn't it? But realistically, if Elan stays all the time, if we keep doing well in the Premier, we go up and stay, Elan's going to stay, right? So they're just not going to play till they're 35 anyway, because Elan will be that age. You know what I mean? Yeah, it's a bit weird, but just do we need a third?
It doesn't make sense because how often do you actually have to use your third goalkeeper? And when you do, it's like maybe one game or maybe 10 minutes at the end of the game if there's an injury or something. And Chris Klassen has shown that he's competent enough to do that. And when he came on against Wolves, when Meslier got injured, he was fine. He had quite a good game. I don't think. Yeah, but then even Danny van der Heuvel, he's probably fine to be a third choice goalkeeper just to learn and to but do you know what I mean? Well, I don't think that's the priority. I don't think we really need to go and sign a third choice. When you were talking about it, I forgot that we had Darlow. So now I'm thinking how ridiculous it is that we were going to. But did we sign Darlow on a 2 or 3 or what year? How many years did we sign him for?
That's a really good question. I don't know.
Was it 3?
Because I think it was 3. Everyone else was on 4s. I think he was a 3.
I'm not sure. He must
That's
be
a good question.
Thought he was going to be number 1, didn't he?
Yeah, well, they thought he was going to go, didn't they?
Everyone thought Meslier was going to 3 year. There you go.
Yeah, 2026.
I think everyone thought Meslier was going to go except for Farke. Farke seems the only one that thought Meslier wasn't going to leave and was like, yeah, I'm happy to keep him. He's fine. He's in my plans. Apparently, he'd asked before he took over. He said Strauch, Somerville, and Meslier, he wanted to make sure he kept him. And they've all been great so far.
Strauch and Meslier. Don't quite work, does it?
I love that chant. I love it though.
It's
It's
a great
great.
chant.
I love when I
It's
hear
a great
yeah.
chant.
But the only problem
Brilliant.
is it's one of those chants where there's too much where it can go wrong in terms of syncing it up with other fans. So when they're
Yeah,
going
no.
la 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 like it,
Half at
It's just
stadium's
like-
rushing it, and half at
Yeah.
stadium's doing it properly, and it's just
yeah,
Got to get the
Right.
names in the right order as well. You can't mix them up. You can't get them in the wrong order.
yeah. There's just
be-
probably one bloke stood there doing it wrong. Oh, I've done it again.
You stop saying Somerville at the end. You get it wrong, man. You're killing us. Yeah. Right. It'd be a short podcast today, but we wanted to kind of look at the first block of the season as well and kind of have a chat about a couple of the players. Early doors, player of the year, most surprising player, and biggest disappointment so far, which I don't think there'll be many there, but Locky, you're going to pick a player. I'm specifically saying player, so you can't pick Daniel Farke. Okay,
okay. I
Max?
can't have a cop out.
You can't pick Farke, Max. Okay, so you can pick whoever else you want, but yeah,
Although-
player of the year so far this year, and why?
Farker is a bit of a player going on that touch, yeah. So
It was filthy, wasn't it?
that touch aside, I said this before, I'll be consistent. For me, Pascal.
Yeah.
I think there's players that obviously that I prefer to watch in terms of excitement and entertainment, and players who will win us games more in the final third. Jorginho, for example. And I love Jorginho; he's probably my favourite player. But I just think Strout's been brilliant, and I think in a way that he's just been. We mentioned this before, Jay, about how Rodon is excellent. He really is, and he's good at getting out of trouble, getting the team out of trouble. Pascal, just not bothered about that. You know what I mean? He just kind of cruises through games. I don't think apart from the first game against Cardiff, I don't think he's really struggled. I think he's found it fairly simple. He gets his role really well. Obviously Southampton when he was on the right side as well, but
yeah,
he gets his role really well. His tackles are brilliant. His duels are brilliant. Aerially is good. Covering is good. Playing out from the back.
It's funny. His two worst games this season were Cardiff and Southampton, and in both of those games he was beside Coops.
Yeah.
But when he's been the main player, when he's been the leader at the back, he seems to be incredibly comfortable.
And that's the side of it that has impressed me a lot. And the way in which, because he was last year, and for the last few years, he's been too quiet.
Yeah.
In terms of, you look at him and you just think big centre back like him, who he's a very good ball player. Surely he's got a lot to say. Surely there's a leader in there. And I think Daniel Farke has really challenged him this season to be that guy. The Cooper's performances are not going to get better. He's getting old. That's normal. That happens to everyone. And he needs someone to step up. And he's challenged Pascal, and he gave him the armband the other day, and he was brilliant with it. Didn't affect his game.
I think sometimes so for somebody like Strout, like you're saying, he's a ball playing centre back. Because like you said last week, Jer, he reads the game really well as well. He's obviously got the understanding of the game to be able to talk and speak to everyone. But I think maybe the thing is when you're next to somebody like Cooper, who is the captain, and he is talking all the time, you can't both do it. I don't think you can have both of them trying to command at the same time, because they might not Cooper might say, Byram, tuck inside or whatever, but Strout might not agree with that. And he might say, go wide or whatever at the same time. You can't have that because there could be disagreements or whatever. And then it just causes that bit of doubt in your mind. So maybe when he's playing alongside Cooper, he doesn't, but I don't think Rodon is as much of a speaker. So Strouk is taking that responsibility, and it's probably something that Farke has asked him to do, like you say, Locky. But I think he's taking that responsibility because there's nobody else there who is doing it. Where we have had that before, though, in the Premier League last season, where we didn't have any leaders at the back, and we kept saying that was our problem. Then Verba came in, and Strout kind of allowed him to be the guy that's talking to everyone. But I think he's just taking it on his shoulders now and saying, "Do you know what? It's got to be me." So
yeah, and at times as well, I know you've coached, Jared. I don't want you to think about this, but the quieter in a way can be better, because it means there's a common understanding. They know what they need to do. They don't have to be screaming every 3 seconds. There. They're already there. They're already doing that job. And it's after the move you talk to each other. You say, right, yeah, we'll do it. And I think that's it with the back four currently. I think there's a good cohesion and understanding between them all. It's a calmness there. They all seem relaxed, and they know their job defensively. And I think that's down to, the personnel in it. And you've got Sam Byram, who's got experience. Joe Rodons is a brilliant player. Strout, who's now taking the mantle as the captain, and whoever's at right back just again seems to just fit in and do. Like Archie Gray, after 10 minutes, he was settled, he was fine, and that's because again the people you have around you, and that's the captain for me. And Pascal was that, and I just think he's been brilliant. I really do.
You've Melly in behind him as well, who can talk about what he can see the whole game. So he can see everything going on in front of him as well and give information that way. And he's always been a little bit too quiet for me as well. So maybe he's stepping up this year as well and talking an awful lot more. There's different kind of leaders. Like picking a captain is always an interesting one. I've picked very young captains. I've picked very senior captains. I remember picking a guy called Danny Doggett when I my first reserve manager's job. And he comes from the under 18s into the team. He wasn't the captain of the 18s. One of his friends was, but I liked an awful lot about how he played football and his determination. And for a young guy, he was determined to make a mark. And he screamed captain to me. So I remember the first game of the season going, "You're the captain." I said, but at any point, if this gets too big for you or gets too distracting, you give it back and you focus on your game. But he was excellent for me. And I've gone the other end of the scale where I've gone for really experienced players in the middle of the park and put the armband on them because it's a young side and they need a bit of leadership. But then there's two ways of captaining teams. You can do as I say you to do on a pitch. So a captain telling everyone how they should play. And then there's
by example.
The Steven Gerrard one for me. Yeah, it's do as I do. So follow me. And if you can get players to follow a leader on the pitch into battle, essentially, then you can get an awful lot out of a group of players as well. It's sometimes most vocal. Yeah.
It's sometimes when they make a striker a captain, which is not a great position to be captain from, but when it's somebody like Harry Kane for England or whatever, you just like, he's the guy. We all aspire to be at the level that he's at. He's just leading by example, doing the dog work. Do you know what I mean? So it's like, yeah, there's a lot of different types of captains, isn't there?
And that sets the tempo. Yeah. That sets
a good
the tempo,
example,
doesn't it, of what you need from a game. Because if your captain's, a calm guy like Pascal is, most of the time in games we have control of it, so there's not a need to be stressed. And that was a problem last year. Everyone was stressed. Who's a player that is relaxed a lot of the time in games? Pascal. And I think he's found himself again. He's been given that responsibility, and for me, I think he's going to get better. I do. I really like him.
Yeah, I really like what he's done this season. Squeaky clean, lovely hair, not a speck of dirt on him, just going about his business. Max, who's your standout player of the year so far?
I think when we talk about standout player of the year, it's like who is consistently brilliant and who is consistently to the point where every time you talk about who's going to be man of the match, you go, well, Ethan Ampadu is obviously in there, but we can't just give it to him every week. So for me, it's Ampadu because not only is he's so good, and we talked about this a little bit last week, didn't we? With kind of the style of player, and that we were talking about what the CDM role is really, and just breaking up the play, slide tackles, smashing into people, but then having the skill to have the passes and drop a shoulder and just being really. I think it's one of the positions where you need to be aware of what's in front of you and what's behind you all at the same time, because that's why it's called the quarterback role, isn't it? You kind of like the defense can see what's happening in front of you, but you've got to be looking everywhere as a holding midfielder. And Ampadu's brilliant at it, and also talking about communication and stuff as well. I think that's one of his best traits. When he first came in pre-season, I think I did some analysis on my channel where I can't remember which game it was, but one of the preseason games, he came short for the ball to Meslier, and then Meslier was going to pass it to him, but somebody came in and was going to block the passing lane, and Meslier was still going to pass it to him. So Ampadu was going, no, that way. And Meslier was stopping and hesitating, and Ampadu was going, that way, screamed at him. He passed it out that way, and we were able to pass out from the back. And it's just about, he's reading the game, and he has that ability to know what's going to happen in the next few seconds and try and help people out. And as soon as people have started to trust him, because obviously that was only the first or second game he ever played, as soon as people start to trust him and go, he knows what he's talking about, he's going to be correct, and then they do what he says when he's communicating, he's saying which way to go and stuff to the centre backs, he's checking his shoulders and going, right, that's the best option, go that way, takes the pressure off the defenders or the midfielders, whoever it might be, to go, okay, Ethan's told me to go that way, trust him, bang, and then we're out of there. So for me, it's Ampadu. I can't wait till one of his shots finally goes in. But yeah, I just love him. I love the way he plays. I think he's class.
David Batty was always good for 1 or 2 goals every couple of years, and they were usually they were absolute belters as well when they did go in. They're like, yeah, all right.
I
Do you know what I
thought
like about Ampadu?
I thought he was going to score at the weekend when he whacked that one and the keeper saved it. I thought that was it, and then
caught it sweet though as well. He caught it so well. You're like, it's going top corner. That's going to sit in the corner. I think there's goals coming from him. I think he'll get a couple as well this year. Although don't hold me to that because I did say I thought there was goals in Brendan Aronson last year, but you know, I'll be right all the time.
There was goals, but just like 2.
Just the 2. Yeah,
the bare minimum thought on the end of goal.
There's the thing I like about Ethan Ampadu, is the consistency, and this is where I think he loses out on man of the matches because, and I've listened to so many podcasts, and I'm religiously listening to the Square Ball podcast, and it comes up every single time of, oh, we can't just give it to Ampadu, so we'll give it to Rudder. Or we can't.
It's become normal for him, hasn't it?
But they're not giving it to him. Like, he's not being given the man of the match every week, and then like people are assuming because he's played so well, I'll automatically get man of the match, so I'll give it to somebody else. And they're going, yeah. But no one's giving him man of the match because everyone's thinking the exact same way. He's been so consistent.
That's the level of his performance every week. It's the same.
Yeah, he's been brilliant. He's been absolutely brilliant. I keep saying about him. I just think he's a consistent 8 out of 10 for me. Like, he's not a 7, he's an 8 out of 10 consistent.
That's literally what I was going to say, that when you talk about what a consistent player is, you go, oh, it's a 6 or 7 out of 10 every week. That's like the cliche, isn't it? All levels of football, you go, oh, he's a 6 or 7 out of, he's an 8 or 9 every week, which is just a cut above in terms of what consistency is. Because you talk about somebody like Shackleton, he's really consistent week in, week out. He doesn't really do anything wrong, just gets on with his game, and he's a 6 out of 10 every week. But then Ampadu is an 8 or 9 out of 10 every week, and it's just like to keep those levels of consistency is unbelievable.
I do for my player ratings, I do like, I rate him out of 10 for the performance, and I'm harsher on him, and the comments are all over it. Why is Ampadu only a 7? I mean, that's an Ampadu 7. You have to understand the level here, right? If I give Ampadu his performance, he'll get a 9 and a 9.5 every week. I can't do that because he can do even more because he's that good. So I've got to give an Ampadu, and the Ampadu 7 is like an 8 for everyone else. So
this is the Phil Hay, Graham Smith ratings debate that goes on all the time of going, if I give him a 9 or a 10, that means he can't get any better. That means he's peaked. That's that's the best score you can possibly get. So you can't give somebody a 10 by that reasoning, because of course he's going to get better. I mean, they talk about, Farkas talked an awful lot about it, and everyone says it about relegation hangovers. He's had 3 relegations in a row? I don't see a hangover from that player. I see an incredibly confident, assured player, and he was playing centre back. He's gone to the middle of the park, and he's just been brilliant. Like, I thought when we signed him, he's going to play centre back. Like, you're buying him to play centre back, but he can play in midfield. And then you watch him in midfield, and you're like, no, he stays there. He's the first name on the team.
Yeah, you can't believe that he ever was a centre back.
Right.
Wild.
Yeah. Yeah. I have Sam Byram. I'm going to stick with Sam.
Yeah.
I know I said a couple weeks ago I'm going to stick with Sam. I just think when you look at what we paid for Sam versus the output we've got from him so far, I know it's only so far, but we're only judging on the games he's played so far. I just think there's a level of maturity there from him. There's a leader in there as well. You can see what Farkas said about him being a leader. I think we look so much more balanced, even though he's a right footer on the left-hand side. But because Farkas' system has the inverted fullbacks, I think he works perfectly for him. He's got a goal. Last goal he scored was for Leeds. He hasn't scored any of his time away from Leeds, so there's that. And we expected. I think the expectation level of him was nothing. I think what was he said in this pod on the Leeds podcast? A fan chat. One of Leeds fans shouted at him in preseason. You're only here because no one else wants you. Yeah. You know. I've said some silly things about players on Twitter and everywhere else, but I've never shouted at a player, no, you're only here because nobody else wanted you. So
that's wild.
That's just mean.
It's wild.
It is mean. Yeah, but he's been great. I think he's been brilliant.
He has. Yeah,
I just feel so safe with him playing.
You feel safe. You feel held.
The Sam Byram cuddle.
Can't wait. When he leaves, we're probably going to have 10 years of crap left backs, and then we're going to go, ooh, should we sign Leif Davis? Is that what we're doing now?
Already?
Yeah. A 10-year cycle, and then go, oh, should we sign somebody we sold 10 years ago?
For $1.5 million.
Yeah.
He's the second most assists in the championship, Davis.
Was it?
Very good, Davis.
Who's that behind?
And the most assists in the League One last year.
Who's got the most this season?
I know James is up there. if it's not James. Got 2 more assists during the week as well, and for Wales.
What a
Come off the
player.
bench after 15 minutes and got 2 assists, so he's effective Dan James.
I called him as the player of the season overall.
Can I just have an honourable mention as well, because I can't believe no one said him. Actually, I'm quite shocked. I thought someone would. That's why I said straight. Just Jorginho, yeah. I think he's been outstanding. He's you go to a stadium and you're watching him for a lot of it, aren't you? Especially Ellen Road, just the way in which he that Watford game. I was lucky because that was the game that he turned up and destroyed a Watford team. It was good fun to watch, and just some little inconsistencies. If he can make them consistent, this league's finished. So
if he can finish, if he can start finishing tap ins, he's going to be the complete player. I did say on another podcast today. One of the things I like about Rutter the most is for number 9, because he is a number 9. We're going to stick with that. To see him running back and tackling wingers and fullbacks in our corner flag, on our 18, on our end line, I've never seen that amount of work from a striker. Like, he just doubles up on players in the weirdest of places, and you're like, if you can run all day. You're
Hold
still,
on, that's Rutter.
Yeah.
He's weirdly brilliant. He's weirdly brilliant as a player, isn't he?
Yeah.
I don't think you want to tame him. Just let him do what he wants. just let him do it.
Work on the tap-ins. Probably falls into this bracket though. Locky, young player of the year.
Young player. What's the age cut off? 21.
Under 20. Under 21. So.
All right. Oh, I think there's
a few in there.
Yeah. I think who else is young?
Is there actually a few in there?
Yeah, who else is under 21?
Somerville.
He's 21 though. Does that count? He's 22 now. He's 22 now.
22 he is, yeah.
When did he turn 22?
Recently, I think.
Very recently, yeah.
I think he did.
Here we go.
That could be someone else.
I don't know if he did, you know.
Did he not?
Because
I'll check that.
Between the Lines put out a thing on Twitter saying about under 21s that have done such and such. Can't remember what it was.
A quick look at this.
Highest rated players 21 and under in the championship. Crescencio Somerville is top with 7.44 on average. Jorginho Rutter is third with 7.3 on average.
I was right.
Cree is still 20. Yeah, Cree is 21. Nanto is 19. Archie 17. Bate 20.
Rutter's 20 as well.
19. You've got 20 for Leo Hjelda as well. You got 21 Creswell. You've got Mateo Joseph there, 19 as well, and Rutter 21. So you've got your choices are Joseph, Gelhardt, Rutter, Somerville, Nanto, Archie Gray, Lewis Bate, or Creswell.
I think there's 3 there that are fairly obvious, isn't there? I think they're the 3 we'll probably go for. I'm going to say, I mentioned him just then, I'm going to go Jorginho. I'll get Jorginho out of the way, and then we can talk about some of the other amazing young lads we've got. But Jorginho Rutter. I think I've said this every time, but the way in which he's kind of just settled in and just accepted and kind of took it on himself that he didn't play well in the Premier League, kind of said, I didn't do enough. That wasn't good enough. I'm going to come here and just if anything at Leeds now, he's getting his confidence back and he's becoming the player that's enjoying football, because that's what he was in Germany. He enjoyed it. He had fun. He wanted a big role. He'd come off the bench and do some brilliant stuff. And now he's doing that, but starting. And every game, I just know the opposition defenders are absolutely frightened of him running anywhere near you, because he's too quick, he's too powerful, his movement's excellent, and he's just fun to watch. And that is a huge... You're thinking of the promotion team, you look at Pablo Hernandez, it was just fun to watch, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Samu Saiz didn't get the most goals and assists, but it was just fun to watch. But Rutter I know he misses easy chances, but the end product is there. Yeah, he's getting the assists as well, he's getting the goals at times. And he seems to do better in chances where he's not got a lot of time to think about it, where it's just edge of box, I'll just hit it. Yeah. I just love him. I think he's brilliant. His personality is excellent as well. The stuff he does off the pitch and the way in which he carries himself is important. The little smile around the crowd when he claps him.
He just looks like he's actually just enjoys playing football.
Enjoying it.
You see a lot of people come off the pitch and they're just like...
Yeah.
Whereas he's like, he scored a goal or something. He's coming off the pitch and he's going...
He loves it, doesn't he? He's trying not to see it.
Yeah, trying not to be so excited about it, but he's just like, he's adorable. And I've just sent you a link in an hour chat for the viewers of Joe's got it up now. Just having a hug with Luciano Becchio. I mean, what's not to love?
Look at the reaction. Look at the. If you are listening to this on the audio, there is a lovely picture on the Leeds United Twitter account of Jorginho Rutter hugging Luciano Becchio like he's just met his long lost father for the very first time. And some of the reactions in the chat are outstanding.
And
it's like, Dad, yeah.
That's brilliant.
It's lovely.
And that's down to me two people. One, Farker. I think the second he came in, he spoke about Jorginho. He's put his arm around him. He's told him, "You're my guy. I will work with you. I will trust you. I believe in you." He's given belief. That's helped him so much. I think he needed that. When he came here in a difficult position last year, it was difficult for him, let's be honest. The price tag, the language barrier, the tempo of the football is completely different. And he struggled. He did. And
several managers,
different
style.
He must have been the right mess. And I don't blame him. But now he's got a manager who trusts him, and he's took that on the chin, and he's putting work in, and it's showing. Yeah. He's been outstanding. Yeah, I'm really proud of him. Like a dad, proud of him.
Yeah. Max, young player of the year?
I think it's got to be Gray, considering he is the youngest young player of the year. For me, I think everybody was kind of thinking, oh, it might be his year this year. He might do well. And also everybody was thinking that Darko JB would do well as well. And I think Gray has shown, what's happened with Gray and JB has shown how difficult it is to break into a team, even in the championship at their age. I mean, JB's 18, isn't he? Or 19?
19.
Yeah, he's only just turned 19, I think. And Archie's 17, and he's doing it in the championship, and he doesn't look out of place at all. If you watched the game and you didn't see a close-up of him looking like a small child, you wouldn't know. No. Because he's just the consummate professional. He does everything right. Having a partner like Ampadu next to him, massively helpful. Somebody, like I said, who's talking to him, telling him where to pass it is probably a massive thing. And the more he tells him where to pass it, the more it'll be muscle memory going, oh, I know where to pass that. Yeah. Ampadu told me last time. But the more it'll become ingrained in him, and he will just look up and pick his pass. And he's been brilliant. Sometimes he loses the ball, but doesn't everyone? I think sometimes it's like, I go, oh, Archie's lost it there. But then I'm like, well, yeah, but so did Rutter before, because he was trying something or whatever. But yeah, I just like how he's physical. He wins tackles. He passes the ball around well. And yeah, he wins headers as well, which I like. And when he went to right back, I was so impressed with the game he had one-on-one. Nobody was getting past him. He was brilliant at right back. Yeah.
Nobody did. 100%.
Him at right back and Byram at left back. And like, who would have thought that? 17-year-old central midfielder at right back and a right-footed left back at left back that we sold 10 years ago has played 50% of the available games. And they're both playing fullback, and they were both man of the match against Bristol City.
No. It's just never phased by Holt, is it?
No.
As of yet. He just seems so calm. And like I said against Bristol, I said this before, the winger up against Bell, he's a good winger. He's wanted, or we're being watched by a lot of Premier League teams.
Top scorer. He's a top scorer.
Yeah, he's a really good player. And after 10 minutes, when he got used to it and got comfortable with it, not an issue.
They tried to take him away, and they put him on Sam's side, and Sam dealt with him, and they put him back over on Archie's side, and Archie's like, I'm still here, mate.
That is like the ultimate I've got in their head, or I've done that well. When the winger goes, oh, Jesus Christ, can I swap wings with you for a bit? You get the 17-year-old. Oh, honestly, it's easy. Go and play against him. And he goes on the other side. Sam Byram's like, no, you're not getting anything here either, mate. Sorry, but
yeah. Just takes the ball. I love watching Sam Byram one-on-ones, because the more you look at it, you just go, you're not getting past him.
Yeah, good luck.
Try and knock that ball past him, but he's going to nick it off. You're going to look silly, and he's going to walk off with the ball. And then Archie goes and does the exact same thing. They looked like the same player on either side of the pitch at one point when you zoomed out. And again, as you said, if you didn't know he was 17 looking across, they were kind of thin, tall, dark hair, and then just kept nicking the ball off wingers. It's like all day.
And it was the way in which, so when he put a big tackle in, and he did it, didn't he? He put a big tackle in near the end. He ran past two people, I think, as well, and won a corner. And usually players would give it the fist to the crowd, but he didn't. He's just not phased. It's just football to him. He's just enjoying it. He's playing at Ellen Road. He loves it, and that's good. Once he starts feeling the pressure a bit, then you've got to watch his time and watch the mental side of it, because that's, as a young man, it won't be fully developed yet. So yeah, but at the moment it's going really well, and good luck to him because he's smashing it. It's really good to see.
Yeah, well, I will agree with you on Locky. He's my standout young player this year so far. But yeah, we'll leave it at that. Not a huge one today. Not a massive lot going around. We're at 50-minute mark, so I'll save everyone the hassle of going over the hour again as I normally do. So we'll cut it at that. So massive thanks to Locky and Max as always. Their descriptions for their channels are in the description down below. Go check them out. Give them a subscribe. Watch their channels. Locky, anything going on this week? It's a quiet one, but anything floating around?
Probably. I'll be honest. Probably not, mate. I'll try and get. I'm going to do like some individual videos of performance, maybe a monthly review, like of all the player ratings averaged out, something like that. We'll see. Cool. Yeah, busy days, I'm afraid.
Yeah, I get that. Uni's busy, me. Max, how about you?
I kind of have the same answer. I'm like, I'm going to a wedding tomorrow, and then I'm probably going to be hungover on Sunday, so I'm not going to want to make a video then. And it's back at work again in the evenings. I'm like, oh god, I just want to relax. So probably not until the next game, but if there is, it'll be a bonus.
Yeah, cool, lovely.
Wicked. Right, we'll leave it there then, folks. Thanks very much as always for watching. I will see you back on Monday morning with the Leeds news. Have a great weekend, and talk to you then. See you. Bye.